Welcome to Transformational Pathways, a podcast created by Toastmasters District 46 in the greater New York area, where we share conversations from influencers within the Toastmasters community and people whose lives have positively transformed by walking down the Toastmasters path. Whether you're just getting started in your career, have had recent career changes, or you're navigating different languages, we're here to help you build confidence by discovering new tools, overcoming your fears to find your voice, and engaging in a thriving community. Enjoy today's episode.
Hello! Welcome to another episode of Toastmasters District 46 Transformational Pathways podcast. I'm your host, Scott Mason, and walking the pathway with me today are two people, with a few surprises to come later in the show. But before we get to the surprises, let's introduce those two people. One is Somesh Chablani. He's an avid Toastmaster, a TEDx speaker, and someone who's very passionate about teaching youth leadership. Also in the house with us all is Jahnavi Utukuri. She's an active Toastmaster too, and a huge believer in youth leadership work. Plus, she is a food blogger. Y'all, welcome to the show. Now,
being here.
It's great to have you here. Thank you. Now, I'm going to direct this to the thing that everyone cares about the most. Toastmasters is a beautiful, wonderful organization. We all love it. That's why we're here and why we're spending our time evangelizing about Toastmasters. But there's one thing I care about more than Toastmasters, Jahnavi, that's food. Y'all, what do you blog about? Tell us a little bit about that. And tell us about the food we need to be cooking. And do you bring it to Toastmasters meetings?
I have actually. So I blog about Indian cooking.
Oh.
So my background, I'm Indian. I came here at a very young age, and my mom actually always wanted us to be independent and be able to cook on our own. So when I went off to college, I used to always call her up and ask her for recipes, and she was getting tired because every day I would be like, hey mom, can you tell me how to make yogurt? Can you tell me how to make rice? Nonstop. So she's like, Jahnavi, when are you going to start cooking on your own? I don't want to be always, telling you what to do.
Right.
And that's how the idea formed. And actually, I said co-founded because my mom is the other founder. I wouldn't be blogging if it weren't for her. It started 10 years ago. It started just as an online guide for me because I wanted to enjoy the food that I grew up with. Right. But pretty soon I started sharing with my friends. I started sharing it on Facebook. And now I have more people coming and asking me, where do you get the spices?
Wow.
What are some good restaurants that we can go to? So it kind of just blew up and became a thing. So I'm really excited about sharing my cuisine with the rest of the world.
I love it. And let me just ask, what part of India are you from? And does it specialize in any particular region of Indian food? Because they're not all the same, I know that.
So where I grew up, it's an interesting story. So I was born in Hyderabad, which is South India. But my parents lived in North India. So they literally just went to South India for my birth, and then they went back to North India where they were living.
Wow.
So I grew up on both South Indian and North Indian cuisine.
Amazing. And I have to say, having been to India and through both North and South India, they are radically different. They were both equally awesome. And actually going from North India to South India, even as a cultural experience, it was in some respects, it was like going to completely different countries. I feel this is a blog I have to check out. We're going to have to find out more about this because I need some more recipes, even though I don't cook. So, Nash, talk to us a little bit about your own background. Are you from New York? Where are you from?
Yeah, hi everyone, and thanks Scott for having us. I've been staying in New Jersey and really being privileged to teach youth leadership in District 46 as well as District 83, and have been here since the past 5 years.
Oh, so you've been here a little while. And let me ask you this. What led each of you to Toastmasters? There's got to be a story. There's always a story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an avid Toastmaster since the past 10 years. But one fine day, I got a call saying, can you come and teach about impromptu speaking? And I said, there are so many adult Toastmasters, but yeah, I can volunteer. And they said, no, this is for a middle school batch. And I went and served that community, and I was so thrilled and excited. It's such a rewarding experience that since then I've enjoyed teaching, connecting with the young people, and there's so much you can learn from the young people, which are the youth. So it's just been an incredibly exciting journey.
Well, we're going to get to Jahnavi's Toastmaster story in a minute, but I want to actually go down a little rabbit hole with you here. How did you get involved in Toastmasters yourself? When and how did your life take you there? That's something people always find fascinating. I know I find fascinating.
I would probably say this in a very simple, simplistic way, Scott. I joined Toastmasters to learn public speaking and enhance my communication skill when I was in college. But I stayed and continued because of great friends and support. Today, I am in District 46. I have so many great friends, and I learn from leaders such as Jahnavi, Osama, Evelyn, Yan Paul, yourself. So it's all about the connection and the support, which really makes every day and every Toastmaster meeting exciting.
Well, and that is a very... Oh, go ahead, Jahnavi.
Oh, no, I was just nodding my head, agreeing with Somesh that there's wonderful people in District 46.
It is a fascinating topic. People have in their mind this idea that Toastmasters is either for people that need to learn English and their English communication skills better, or who are afraid of speaking. Toastmasters is so much more diverse than that. For instance, podcasting and podcasters are increasingly finding themselves in Toastmasters because they understand that they need to be able to constantly heighten their verbal presentation skills. You have professional speakers. People, I know personally, someone who speaks 22, 25 weeks out of the year all around the United States, who's in Toastmasters because he knows that that's how he can sharpen his skills to another level. But all of them say, no matter why they're here, that they love the community that they're part of. Jahnavi, how did you end up joining this community?
Well, I wanted to just touch upon your previous question as well as how I got into Toastmasters, because that will also answer the community question. So I've been a Toastmaster for over 8 years, and this was when I was still living in New Jersey. I had a change, so I was in New York, then I moved to New Jersey. And I didn't know anybody where my parents were. And my mom actually, she told me about Toastmasters because one of her colleagues, they had a corporate Toastmasters club in their company. And she said, I want you to meet this. She's a wonderful person, and she'll tell you more about Toastmasters. And what happened was I talked to her colleague, and then she invited me to a meeting in the community where my parents live. And the club and the club members were so cheering and so wonderful that it was just a shock to me, because I was like, these people are strangers, yet they embraced me and they welcomed me into their club meeting with open arms. And it was weird because I have claustrophobia. So when they were so friendly, I actually took a step back and I was like, oh, you guys have to kind of back away, because it was just too overwhelming for me, all that friendly nature. But I kept going back to meetings. I loved how, they kept saying, you need to put yourself out. You need to keep challenging yourself because you can't be scared. I never had problems speaking to people, especially if it was a small group. It only got harder when it's 20 people, 30 people, because then I don't know who to look at. Yeah. And I get like nervous and shaky. But with this community club, it got easy. When you're here in Toastmasters, you can make mistakes. Because in the real world, mistakes can cost you your job. But here, you can make a fool of yourself, and we will be here to tell you what you're doing wrong in a friendly way. And that just made it so easy for me because I found a community, and it was so good because I stayed there for about 7 years. Some of those people even came to my wedding, which was 4 years ago. Yeah, it was just, and the club was made up of people years to 80 years. So it was just amazing that I was able to connect with people from diverse backgrounds, age groups, industry backgrounds, and finally felt like I belong somewhere, Scott, because that is something I've struggled with my whole life, where I felt like I didn't have a place that I belonged to. And with this club, it was so hard for me when I moved to New York to leave that club, because I was like, they're my family, and now I'm moving to New York. I need to find another family like them that I can call my home again. So I mean, it changed my life. It's made me more confident.
It's also keeping you a family, huh?
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
No, don't be one. I'm the one who's interrupted, but I just sort of have to ask. The Toastmasters Club that you joined here, was it able to replace that? Was it able to be a family like that for you?
It was a hard choice. It took me 4 years to find a club like that.
Wow.
I was so unwilling to find a new club because every time I visited a club here in New York, I always found something wrong with it. I was like, they weren't welcoming enough, or there wasn't enough diversity, or I felt like there was that connection wasn't there. I think I was finding reasons not to like it.
Sure.
But end of last year, actually, I joined Toastmasters Club. They're in the Upper West Side, and they're small, intimate groups. When we were still doing in-person meetings, I felt the connection. It was the first time since leaving my home club in New Jersey, that connection. They were really nice, and they just encourage you. They said, hey, I know you're not a member yet, but you can come up and hopefully you'll join our club.
Yeah.
And I did. I ended up joining the club. I'm actually I'm the president of the club this year. And because of COVID, we've been struggling, but one thing is we all support each other.
Yeah.
In Toastmasters, more than just public speaking, I think it's that community, the fact that you support each other in hard times and good times.
Totally. And I will say one of the things that you're pointing to is that Toastmasters, particularly here in District 46, has a lot of clubs. And the beauty of that, and every single one of the clubs, you hear that over and over, they're slightly different. They have their own vibe. What might be right for you might not be right for the people that would love some of those clubs that weren't quite the right fit. So I always tell folks, if you are someone who is listening to this show or watching it and is thinking about joining Toastmasters, if the first one you go to doesn't have quite the right vibe, well, there's a zillion other ones. And just like you did, you will find that place that's home for you. That it's like when we read your food blog, the first recipe might not be to your taste, but you go through 10 years worth of it, you're going to find something that's doggone good. Only it won't take you as long to find the right Toastmasters Club. In fact, I don't think it'll take long to find food that's good on your blog either. Somesh, you are passionate about teaching youth leadership. I don't understand something. I'm confused. Toastmasters is for grown-ups. I thought kids weren't even allowed. What is going on? Did the world just shift underneath my feet and I wake up and suddenly the sky is orange? Tell me, what?
Sure. So Scott, I'll probably continue what Jahnavi said. It starts all with the club, because club really creates the culture. And when you're really in the right environment and culture, I'll probably state it in threes, because I like to state things in threes. It's all about, in Toastmaster clubs, building connection and then having the right conversation and collaborating. And all my learnings from the Toastmasters Club and senior Toastmasters and having a good mentor made me serve the community and the young people by paying it back. Because as I teach, I'm enhancing my public speaking skills. But I'm also learning from the Gen Z and Gen Alpha. These young people have so many ideas. When I hear the young people, some say, I want to become a doctor, I want to become a lawyer. They have big ambitions. But they also these young people tell us, when Jahnavi and I speak to them, I want to know how to articulate my thoughts. I want to speak to a larger crowd. Please help me, enable me, teach me. And that really makes us really feel that this is a very rewarding experience. As we connect with other Toastmasters in District 46 and outside District 46, we also try to recruit coordinators who can then also help us teaching. So it's really a great, not only a great role, but it's a great way to connect, make new friends, and pave the way to teach this new future generation. I would sum it up in that quote, which is my favorite one from Nelson Mandela. The youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow.
So true. But let's step back a little bit. There are going to be people who are listening to this show or watching it who are not Toastmasters. And then there are going to be people who are listening to it and watching it who may be Toastmasters, but their experience is limited to the particular club that they are part of. So talk to us a little bit more about the program. Give some context for what you were saying about the relationship of your involvement with Toastmasters and youth leadership training for anyone who has no idea what we're talking about here.
Sure. And Jahnavi, please feel free to add. So the Youth Leadership Program, or YLP as we call it, Scott, is essentially a very well-structured program by Toastmasters International, which spans across 8 weeks. There are sessions or classes held each week, and we have typically about 12 to 15 students in a batch, and we teach them everything, but in a condensed fashion, what we learn in an adult Toastmasters club, which is how do you really craft a speech? How do you deliver the speech? Body language, vocal variety, and more importantly, impromptu speaking. But the best part, which I really enjoy teaching, is the fun. They come out with creative jokes. They come out with out-of-the-box ideas, such as one of the recent students told me, when we posed them the question about impromptu speaking, you'll be amazed at some of the topics they came up with, such as, should voting be allowed at age 16?
Oh.
Okay. Should you get an opportunity to become the class teacher for a day?
Really interesting.
What should we do when people break signals? They have great ideas, and we adults learn from them through this process. So that's just a very high level information, but I'll hand it to Jahnavi to add more.
Well, timing off of what Somesh said, I remember when I was teaching a youth leadership program in New Jersey for high school students. This was when the program was still in person. It was my first time teaching. I had 10th grade and 11th graders. I was amazed at how many kids joined the program.
Wow.
And the superintendent was at every meeting. So I was like, oh my God, I have to do a good But it was amazing because she was enthusiastic, and what I really enjoyed is that as we were going through weeks 1, week 2, they started learning the material, and I find that very refreshing. I didn't want them to consider me, oh, I have to come to these classes on a weekend for 2 hours. Like, I already go to school Monday through Friday. I told them that in this program, the material that you're going to be exposed to will help you build those public speaking skills so that when you give presentations in class, you don't have to be nervous, because we're going to teach you some skills on how not, that using filler words is not a good idea, because your teachers to think that you know what you're talking about. So when Somesh was talking about the impromptu speaking, one of the students from my class, he actually took the topics master role where he came up with his own ideas, and his top showing the class famous paintings
Oh.
And then he asked volunteers to express their feelings about the painting.
Wow.
Either if it was the painter themselves, or if they seen the painting and what kind of emotion they felt when they saw this painting. Because some of those paintings I've never seen before. So just amazed at how much exposure these kids have and how they're thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. Now, there may be, in fact, I would be shocked if there weren't Toastmasters who are listening to this show or watching it and were utterly unaware of this program, but they may have a child of their own, or maybe their niece or nephew, or someone in their family that they can think of who they care about and love they would want them to be involved in this sort of program. What do we tell them?
So Somesh and I, the way we are introducing the program to everyone is that we have a youth leadership program inquiry form that we can send to interested parents and Toastmasters, and they can share with everyone. And that form basically gives us some information as to when would the be ready, meaning summertime, wintertime, springtime. But it's weekdays, because we know that kids have, whether they're in middle school or high school, and we want to make sure that the program, when they participate, they get the most out of it. So the form has questions like that, so that we gather that information, and then we actually share the permission that they fill out. And then once we have the kids for those programs, we start the program. So it's within a couple of weeks, this whole process is completed.
So that's interesting. So is it tied to particular school districts, or is it something that if I'm just some random person out there who's got a kid that I think could really benefit from this program, I just send in an application and they somehow, we get notice after a little while that the program is active and running, and we just send our kid no matter where they are, so long as they're in District 46? Or is it something else that I'm not quite understanding here?
So my personal opinion is, I think anyone who has kids under the age 17 can participate. I don't believe you should limit it to District 46, but I'm not saying that that's the case. We try to advertise in District 46. We've actually, a couple of my former students, they're in Staten Island High School. They've been in the program 2 or 3 times already, and they got so much out of it. They said, "Hey, Jahnavi, do you think I can approach my high school and see how many kids would be interested in our own program?" So just for Staten Island Tech. Mm-hmm. And working with another student who's from Brooklyn Tech, and he wants to participate in a program. So we are reaching out to schools, but we are also reaching out to anyone who's interested in enrolling their kids in this program.
I appreciate that. That is so good to know. Now, let me ask you, suppose I am a school teacher, or I am an administrator for a district that is in District 46, and I am interested in having this program for my students, maybe to supplement the forensics club, or for kids that aren't interested in forensics or not, that's too much for them. What would you tell that sort of individual to do? So
Somesh and myself, our information is on District 46. So I would say, once they have our information, they just need to send us an email, say, I'm having a youth leadership program for my school or for a particular club. Can we have a conversation, or could you tell me how to get started? It's as simple as that. I know people think it's complicated. It's really not. It's all about starting that conversation. Program happens.
Let me say, simple is a beautiful thing.
I would probably add a little more with some practical or concrete examples. Like Jahnavi talked about this children from Staten Island School. I recently concluded that batch. But it's all about also involving our club members. So as we get inquiries, because we network and connect with our Toastmaster club members, typically we also have a primary coordinator, and the primary coordinator who is part of his home talks to the president of the club, and that club sponsors him. So for example, recently I conducted this batch, and my sponsoring club was the Leadership Roundtable. So we had Sanjay, we had Yan Paul, who came as guest speakers. That's how we involve other Toastmasters also, and give the children a broad perspective of also listening to other speakers who come and deliver different topics.
Well, and that's, go ahead, please finish.
But the inquiries do come from different avenues, such as you can be an educator, a school teacher, a Toastmaster, or a parent. There are different ways each and every one can get involved. You can volunteer as a speaker, you can become a coordinator, or you can participate to learn how to become a YLP chair or co-chair, so that District 46 really continues this momentum. So it's all about really getting everyone excited and paving the way. Let me quickly read this note.
Please.
The recent student who completed the Youth Leadership Program, I will not name her for privacy reasons. She was very shy before she joined the program. And she sent me this handwritten note, and this is what she had to say. I am confident. I enjoy conversations and like to make new friends. And after the YLP program, I now want to make a difference and inspire other young children by also joining and participating and teaching.
Oh.
Great.
That is very moving. Let me ask you this then. If I am a Toastmaster that wants to somehow get involved in the program, maybe I want to lead a group, or maybe I want to be a guest speaker, or I just want to help you all out. Are you saying that we just go to the District 46 website, look up the YLP, and then just reach out to you all? Is it that easy? That sounds too good.
Yes, it is that easy, Scott. And a host like you, who's so energetic, great speaker, we would love to have you in every batch and every class.
Well, I promise that I would at least keep them entertained. Let me ask you, I also did a TEDx speech, and it may have been on a topic related to this. Is that not true? Somesh, we talked about the TEDx speech during the intro, but tell us a little bit more about that. Don't keep what you do a secret.
No, definitely, Scott. It is aligned to what I mentioned earlier. I wanted to pave it back, and my topic of the TEDx was to spread this message about youth leadership, and the title of my talk is Shaping the Future One Youth at a Time. The key message at TEDx talk is all about connection, conversation, meaningful conversation, and collaboration. What we have all learned from Toastmasters, it's all about those 3 C's.
I love it. Now, I think we just had a little surprise start to happen. Did I see a new face just pop into the room? Oh!
Yes.
I see a new face in the room. Well, who is this person just coming in and busting into our podcast? Who does she think she is? What does she have to say? Somesh.
Sorry.
That is Unique. Unique Zhang, one of our past students. Hi, Unique. Welcome.
Unique, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, look, I'm excited. I love it when a new face pops in. I'm Scott Mason. I'm the host of the show, and it is such a pleasure to meet you. Unique.
Yes.
Well, I heard you. Well, you are.
Yes.
You are.
I am.
And I'll tell you something else. You're confident. You're coming right at me. Most people don't do that. I don't even know what to say.
My person is always a surprise. It's always shocking.
I think we don't just have a Toastmaster in the house. I think we've got a podcaster to be unique. Is it true you were part of the Youth Leadership Program? Or is that just gossip?
No, it's
got you. What made you decide to get involved in the program?
Well, see, actually, I was interested in, of course, opening up my I think the first thing was that my parents knew that I was interested and they enrolled me into it. And that was mainly the fact that my parents put me into it. And I, after a while, I actually started enjoying it. So there's that.
After all, are you saying that at first you weren't down with that? It took you a little while to warm up to it. Keep it real.
Oh, no. I was not. Just that my parents were the ones who introduced me to it first.
And how did you like it? What were your favorite things about it? Oh, we're gonna get to you. I think someone else just came into the house. I'm here. We see you.
Hi.
Hi, Amar.
Oh, Unique. Tell us a little bit more about what were your favorite things about it, what you learned from it, and why you would tell anyone else to join.
So some of the things I learned.
Oh, Unique.
Sorry.
That's okay. We'll get to y'all in a minute.
One of the great things was being able to be around people my age that had the same goals. And I think that, I'm really keen on making sure people to always improve yourself. And I think that the fact that we all had people similar to our age striving towards the same goal was really important. And I really liked that about it. And it was just a friendly community, mistakes from them. So I love that about it.
All right, so I just have to process this for a minute. Even though I look like I'm only 22, I'm actually a little bit older than that. And I've got to say, it took me a long time to figure out that the people I was hanging out with would impact where I wanted to be and make sure I was hanging around people with some goals. Am I hearing you say those words and you're in high school?
I am in high school.
I am impressed. Okay, I'm so impressed, I don't even know how to take this. So I've got to turn the conversation before my mind explodes. Yes, Somesh, talk.
And Scott, I must say that Unique, after completing her youth leadership program, which was almost 9 months back, has been very active in coming to the batches run by me and Jahnavi and being a guest speaker. So that she can teach and she can share her experiences with the new youth.
Unique, what are you going to be one day when you grow up? Which is not that far away.
That is not that far away. 2 more years and I'll be in college.
Yeah.
That's true. And I've been asking myself a lot as well. And I have yet to come up with one because I know that in any career, I just succeed in it. It's just finding the right career for me. It's all about exploring so far right now.
I think world domination is going to be your career choice. I'll live in a world dominated by you. That's fine.
That is my number one goal right now.
That's why people need to be involved with YLP, World Domination. Amir, you came in next. How are you?
Doing good. And I wanted to thank you for inviting me on the program.
Are you kidding? I'm ecstatic to have you here. Amir, how did you get involved in YLP?
So I through my parents, and they told me that it was a good opportunity to improve my public speaking skills. And so it was during the summer, and so I decided to take up the class and join in.
And how have you liked it?
It's been great. I had a lot of fun, and what I liked best about it was that it was a very low stress environment. So while you need to come prepared and do try your best, but everyone was very accepting, and as long as you were improving, people were super supportive, and that was so great.
What made your folks feel that this was something that would be good for you?
I know they just want me to succeed, and they know that, and I know that. Being able to advocate for yourself and being able to speak in front of a lot of people is a very important life skill. And so, especially I'm going into college soon, and I know that I'll need to be doing a lot of presentations in front of classes, maybe in front of like 50 to 100 people at certain times. So, this was definitely a great opportunity for me to practice that and improve my skills.
What was the highlight of the whole program for you?
For me, the best part was some of the impromptu speaking. Sometimes we would have like these little debates where we would be given like 10 minutes to prepare what we want to say on a certain topic, and then we would just have to speak. And that was definitely my favorite part because I like to debate, and it's also good to like be able to come up with something like quickly on your feet.
I love it. Well, as an attorney, I'll tell you, that is a skill that you need. And I'm just saying that now so I can protect myself when you start to debate with me, because I put up a good fight. I mean, what class are you in, or what level, what grade are you?
I'm a senior in high school right now.
That's what I thought. And do you know where you're going to college next year?
Yeah.
Where?
No, excuse me, not specifically, but I'm in the middle of like applying for colleges right now, and I'm hoping to stay in New York State.
Well, I know that you are going to do very well, and I expect you to join the earliest Toastmasters club that you can, wherever your college is. Toastmasters needs you.
And Scott, I must say that the next person you're going to speak to, hi Annie, is an ace in debates.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I can handle it. Now, although I'm a lawyer, I was a debater in high school, and I was nothing short of a little bit of a disaster. I had to learn the hard way. It sounds like Annie actually might be good at it. Annie, nice to meet you and welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you too.
So you were in YLP. When were you in YLP, and how'd you get involved?
I think the last time I was in the program was last year during the summer. And my friend, my mom's, her son, he was in the program, and then she recommended it to my mom. So my mom put me in the program, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this, because I was like really nervous.
Oh.
And I was so shy. And I was like, Mom, I can't do speeches in front of people. Like, I'm going to start crying and I'm going to leave the meeting. And I was so scared. But then when I started getting into the program, because I had such amazing teachers like Jahnavi and Somesh, they really helped me taking my speaking skills to another level. So that's how they helped me become such a great speaker.
How did you end up dealing with that shyness? And by the way, thank you for being so honest about that, because a lot of folks won't admit that they have these fears or concerns. And I'll share a little secret from someone you just met and whose opinion you probably don't care about, which is that if you are going to really succeed as a speaker, you've got to be willing to share things about yourself that make you a little bit vulnerable. And that's what you just did. You've already beaten a lot of people out there that try to consider themselves speaker because you showed some courage. So talk to us a little bit how you overcame that.
So when I joined the program and I was all shy and everything, and the teachers, when they guided me and told me, you're great and you need to be able to express yourself and let people know who you are, like let them inside so that you have a better connection with your audience, and that when you speak it flows easier through your body, so that it made it so much easier for me.
That is really poetic and beautiful. Okay, now I'll ask you three this question. Keep it real with me. There may be people whose parents might be hearing this and considering them for the YLP, or they might even just hear about it through their classmates or whatever, and they might say to themselves, why on earth do I need this program? I know how to talk. I go on Instagram, I'm on TikTok every day. You think I can't figure out how to present myself? What does this program have to offer me? And it's more work. Heaven's sake, my teachers give me enough to do. What would you say to kids like that? Young people, I should say. I'm the kid in the group.
That's a great question, actually. And I think I also had this problem too, because I find myself to be one that's really involved in extracurriculars and after-school activities, and making sure that I have over the weekend for YLP was really important for me.
Let's just say, first of all, that TikTok and Instagram is not the same thing as
what I would.
It's similar, I agree, but it's not on the same level. It requires a certain
different set of skills. Now, while it is impressive nonetheless, it doesn't hurt to have another set of skills, It's You know, being
To express yourself differently, I think.
by being able to speak in front of like a larger audience, to be able to come up with things on the fly, because things like, you know, for TikTok and Instagram requires a lot of planning. So I think just being able to open up your skill set is also really important as well.
Any of you all, did you experience anything that you didn't expect from being in the program? Some sort of surprise that you went in maybe setting one set of expectations about what you'd get out of it, and then, whoa, this just happened? If so, tell us about it.
Something that really surprised me. I thought it was going to be a lot more, I guess, a lot more formal than it really was. You know, I thought I was going to have to do a lot more work. You know, like initially when I heard about it, I wasn't really looking forward to the amount of effort I was going to have to put in over the summer. But it really wasn't like that at all. It was really relaxed. It was really low stress. Their preparation wasn't too rigorous, and it's not very hard to fit it into your schedule, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm very glad I did it.
Annie, I've got to ask you, because you haven't answered a second question yet, so I'm going to pick on you a little bit here. I'm going to pull a table topics on you. Let me ask you, are you keeping in touch with any of the folks, or did you develop any new friendships through this?
Actually, when I joined the program, when I did it, I think it was my second or third time, I met Unique, and we actually became such great friends. And I was talking to her because I'm still in middle school. I'm applying for high schools this month when it opens up. But I was talking to Unique, and she's in high school, and she's actually like you said, she's a really confident person. And when you talk to her, she just makes you feel comfortable, like you could just talk to her about anything, and she's just an amazing friend. And I've met so many other people, and even Jahnavi, she's like my best friend. And the other day we were talking about my dog on the phone. But I've made so many great friends along the way, and I feel like Toastmasters is just like another opportunity to make more and more friends.
And there's something about Toastmasters, I don't know what you all think, but there's something about Toastmasters. Everyone I meet in it manages to be such a positive, good-willed person. It's almost like if you are evil, you just, Toastmasters it repels you. But if you are a wonderful, awesome person, somehow you find yourself in Toastmasters. And look, here I am talking to you three. I think you all are absolutely terrific. And of course, you've been involved in Toastmasters.
Scott, I must say, you asked the question about what were you not expecting or surprised to them. I would say that question probably you should have asked me and Jahnavi. What surprised us as teachers is the discipline. They know how to be muted. They always respect each other's opinion. And more importantly, it's all about diversity, right? How do you have diverse opinions when you are doing debates, but in a healthy manner, still respecting each other's view? So sometimes it makes us adults also learn from these young people. I think that's why it really makes us proud of where they are and how they are progressing in their journey.
Look, I've already learned from you all. Not the least of which is I'm going to have to put my own plans for world domination aside. I've got some competition in the house. Now, listen, are any of y'all going to be podcasters one day? That's what I want to know.
Maybe. I did plan on having like a podcast in my school for certain activities that is yet to be implemented, and this wasn't. But I'll get there soon.
Well, at least you had a guest appearance on a podcast, and I hope all of you tell your friends about it. Make sure they listen and comment and like and share and get themselves involved in YLP, because I want to come back and hear more podcasts with you all and just see each of you all truly go on and succeed. The hour is coming to a close. This has been such a special episode. Thank you all so much, especially you, Unique, and Annie and Amir. You all just know how to make someone's night. Somesh and Jahnavi, all the rest of y'all, it has been great having you on the show today. Thank you for joining us, for sharing your story, and just sharing who you are. For those of you who are listening or watching, if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review or a comment on Apple, and leave a comment on YouTube as well. Also, don't forget to follow District 46 on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn. And if you're new to Toastmasters, or especially if you or someone you know is right for the Youth Leadership Program, go to our website at toastmasters46.org. That's toastmasters46.org. That way you can find out a lot more about the YLP and about a club that might be right for you. Toastmasters is where leaders are made.
Thank you so much for joining us on Transformational Pathways. If you enjoyed today's episode or got anything out of it, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you're interested in learning more about Toastmasters District 46, check out the link in the show notes below.